I've always had a love-hate relationship with this film. I think some parts of this film are absolutely brilliant, and other parts of this films are absolutely nonsensical. Like I watched this film and it's just like, what is going on? What is happening here? And there are other parts where I'm just like, wow, that's a great Superman moment. I wish the whole movie was like this. So, Superman Returns came out what in 2006, right? Like, and the last Superman film we ever had in theaters was like what Superman 4, like almost like what 30 years ago. So this was supposed to be the return of Superman, right? This is supposed to be a continuation of the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve movies, and Brandon Routh was supposed to be the Christopher Reeve. He was supposed to continue that role, as we see now. But the problem was for me, Superman was more like Superboy. Because even though Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh were practically the same age when they first played Superman, Christopher Reeve looked more like a man. He looked like he was almost in his 40s, even though he was like 25 when he first started out. So he looked like a man. You believed it. Brandon Routh, he looked like he didn't look like that. He looked like a boy. It felt more like Superboy than Superman. It felt like Brandon Routh would have been better if he played teenage Clark Kent and someone else played the actual adult role of Clark Kent Superman. That's how it felt like to me. Because he looked so young. He looked young and he felt young. And I felt like his physique, even though obviously he's in good shape, great shape, he didn't look big. He didn't look like Superman to me, which was a problem. And I know, and the other problem was Bryan Singer obviously loved the original Superman movie, and again that was another problem because Superman Returns just felt like a remake of the original Superman film. That's what it felt like. Obviously, this film is a love letter to the Richard Donner film, but it just felt like a carbon copy, beat for beat, same plot, same tone as the original Superman film, just with better visual effects. And that's a problem because if you're starting a new Superman film, right? This is a brand new Superman film for a new generation. You can't make a sequel to a film that was 35 years ago. like like who thought that was a good idea? Who thought this was a good idea? Like you should have started, if this is a reboot, quote unquote, a reboot for a new generation, then you start with a new story. You don't continue off with a story that was 35 years ago. That makes no sense. Because half the audience, the younger audience, hasn't seen the original Christopher Reeve movies at that time. So just like, what are you doing? Like, so, and the plot for this, I wasn't a big fan of, because so apparently, like the plot of this movie was 5 years ago, Superman abandoned his adopted home of Earth to investigate what astronomers believe to be an intact Krypton in outer space. So basically, he left Earth because he knew, because he heard that there was that Krypton was still alive. But it's like Superman would never do that. Superman would never leave Earth unprotected on a hunch that Krypton was still alive. Like he was gone for 5 years, dude. Like really? Like that's the best you could do? That's the best story you can come up with? He left he left Earth because based on a hunch, he left Earth. What? And especially, like, that makes no sense. Especially if this is a continuation of the Christopher Reeve movies. He will never leave Earth. Like, that's a no-no. What are you talking about? And apparently, in doing so, when he left, because all this was going on while Lex Luthor was in court. He was basically in trial. And since Superman left Earth, Superman was the star witness to Lex Luthor's case. So since Superman is gone, Lex Luthor was able to, be acquitted of all charges, basically, because Superman was the star witness. And Lex Luthor Again, Kevin Spacey playing a continuation of Gene Hackman. Kate Bosworth, who I love, she's fucking beautiful, gorgeous, but she's way too young to be Lois Lane. Like this felt like it would be perfect for a CW show. Because everyone is so young. Everyone is so young in this movie. They're so young and they look young. They look like children playing adults in a fucking school musical. That's what it felt. That's what it feels like to me. And Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane did not work for me. I just didn't care. She was just, her performance was just really flat. Her writing, the dialogue was just like eh. It's just like eh. Like I didn't really care for it. So and Lex Luthor again, his whole plot makes no sense to me, because his plan was to destroy the United States, right? Replacing it with a large continent and forcing the rest of the world to live there. And he was going to do so by going into the Fortress of Solitude and taking one of Superman's crystals and replacing it with a large area and killing off half the United States to make his own land. What? Like, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. This makes no sense whatsoever. Like, what is happening? Like that's the fucking dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. It's just like, again, like this script needed a rewrite. It needed a rewrite. Like who thought this was a good idea? Like no one in production who read the script was like, "Yep, this is perfect. I love it. Makes sense." Like no. Like, but again, despite all those flaws, there are some really beautiful moments in this film. Like Superman getting his ass whooped. Bro, why is Superman getting his ass whooped by Lex Luthor? Again, I understand it's kryptonite, but okay, whatever. It's just so frustrating because it makes no sense. But again, there are beautiful moments, like obviously the plane rescue scene, gorgeous, breathtaking scene. I love that scene. I thought everything about that scene is spectacular, and surprisingly, it still holds up. Like that scene still holds up. The plane rescue scene, obviously that's like the highlight of the film. Still holds up. It's still brilliant. It's still like, wow, this is awesome. And again, Bryan Singer is a good director. It's just the story and the acting that needed a little more work on it. And obviously, Superman flying after he saves Lois, or after Richard White saves Superman and his family. Obviously, what the fuck am I talking about? Ugh. After Richard White saves Superman, he flies up to the sun. There's a beautiful moment where he like clenches his fist and goes down to the water to lift up half the continent of Krypton. Beautiful scene. Makes no sense again, but beautiful scene. And Superman having a son, again, you make Superman a deadbeat. Makes no sense. Like, okay, well, how did he... First of all, I didn't even know he could have sex with Lois without her exploding into a million bits, but okay, whatever, I'll go with it. And Superman having a son, okay, interesting, but essentially just made him a deadbeat. Okay, why is this here? Cool. Again, it's just... I mean, if you wanted Superman to have a son, that could work. A super family, that could work if it was a different movie and it was a better script and make Superman more wholesome. Then yeah, and make him a positive father figure in a different movie, that could work. But the way it's done here, it's totally disrespectful to the character, and it makes Superman a deadbeat, like I said, and it just makes him a homewrecker, since Kate Bosworth is married to Richard White, another character in this movie, who's a good guy. Again, everything is just all messed up. It's just all messed up. It just makes no sense. But like I said, it has its flaws. It has its positives. Overall, it's not that great. But, Brandon Routh was redeemed in Crisis on Infinite Earth, so that's a good thing. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on it. It's just not that great.